right, so we're gonna be reacting to Drift's Adventure Synchron deck, and he got first place, so it's pretty epic.
What's up, guys? First place, DUNE case. We won a case tourney with this. It was a 3-on-3 tournament.
That's
with
wild,
Adventure
bro. That's
Synchron.
wild.
This deck's ridiculous, and it's a pile. Not a huge pile. A little bit different than how a lot of people play it, but it's not really reliant on junk. Well, of course, it's reliant on junk speeder, jet speeder, whatever the heck that card is. But
what the hell,
first, we played it a very different way. We try and bait our opponent with a bunch of powerful synchrons and different cards first, and then we jet speeder. That way, we could actually win. The tournament was incredible. First round, I had no idea what I was doing. The second round, I'm like, wait a second, this deck might just be the craziest deck on the planet. Third round, same thing. Fourth round, same thing. Fifth round, I was Goku.
What the fuck? What the hell, bro?
And then we won the finals, obviously. So
That's
I'm gonna get straight into this. Before we do, check out the beautiful Magician Playmat on TriftGaming.com. It's the only reason I won. And the beautiful Beyond the Pendulum deck box. You can't get these. You got to top 8 of YCS Brazil at that, and you'll only be able to do that if you play the decks I play. So let's get straight into it. The Synchron numbers we did was these. Assault Synchron is the worst one, but it's still amazing. Like, they're all great to see.
Yeah.
But the only time the deck loses.
One and two, there's no real difference.
Synchro Overload, whatever that the Synchro nerd card. The reason why the deck is so powerful is when you draw cards that are kind of a middle of each, so you can decide what you want to do in conjunction with half synchrons, half non-synchrons, and play cards to stop the opponent.
Okay, yeah. I mean that's the reason I played tuning for sure. But no overtake is wild. No overtake is so wild.
Cards that kind of get anything. These two are so insane. Like I always thought these were horrible to draw. They're
no way, bro.
They're really not. Even this is not bad to draw, despite you can get it for free. Because this is the option now. You could make it basically a synchron or a non-synchron, depending on what your hand is.
Yeah.
And you always have access to synchron. So despite the fact of you only playing 7, 10 tunings, you play this at Foolish, which could send Stardust Synchron, which is the real MVP of the deck. It's not Revolution Synchron despite being absolutely broken in an extender. It's not Jet Synchron despite being amazing. It's not Assault Synchron despite being an extender. It's this card. This is the deck. Without this, it's not a deck. You don't even need Jet Speed.
Okay. Let me clarify this. Okay, so the reason why he's saying this is because it gives you access to a non-tuner. The fact that it gives you to the 11 modulating and the trail. It's good in that sense, but it's only great once you've initiated a combo sequence, right? Because if speeder does not resolve, you don't get access to this. If you get rolled, you do not get access to illumination. So that's quite huge. So that's why opening these is not the worst in the draw format, right? Because you're like, oh, I can still combo off because the draw doesn't affect me. I would search it through him, but I drew it, so it doesn't really hurt me as much as it should. And yeah.
This bad boy. I jet speeder anyways when I have multiple negates after, but
yeah.
This
and one of the things as well is the fact that you can make speeder after you've attempted to do the adventure route, right? Because there's sometimes where you have Magician Souls, and then Magician Souls and that can make speeder, and it gives you options to make Excel and stuff like that.
This is it. I would love to play more, but again, you don't want to open so many, and you already have 7 ways to this, 10 ways to this because of Small World. So this is why I love Foolish, this, and 3 Small World. It's basically 5 anything you want. I even toyed around with playing Prosperity in the deck, but then I looked at Hyper Librarian, and I was like, never mind. So no to that. So yeah, that's our tuner count.
Yeah, Prosperity is kind of wild in this deck.
This even felt too much sometimes. I've toyed with the idea of cutting Revolution to 1, cutting Jet to 1, and then I had a brain and realized I can't do that. If anything, you could actually cut Revolution to 1. I'm not even kidding, but it's just so powerful. Why would you do that? You could get so many you want. There are hands in this deck that you do draw 4 Synchron monsters and a Veiler. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Especially now, imagine when you draw 2 Synchrons, a Droll, an Imperm, and like an Enchantress. Oh, your hand's broken. Enchantress, Ash. All right, pass. So you want to make sure that you can actually play through a bunch of stuff, which is why I play a bunch of other cards in the deck as well to ensure of that. Cards like this.
I'm assuming it's going to be Fenrir.
Which again, you play small.
Yeah, so it's Fenrir Souls. These are the main ones that you play.
And Souls
Fenrir Souls.
It's remarkable. I go to that card every game. I don't know why people don't play it. Something else I play as well, on top of all that, is 3 Tengu. Literally, it's full combo.
And of course, Tengu, of course. Yeah, Tengu, of course.
Combo. Like, and a free monster. And what are they going to do when a Tengu's on field? Imagine you're going second. People have issues with this, like going second. There was a replay, which I'm going to show later. It was so beautiful. It brought a tear to my eye and a sadness to my opponents. I was facing, my opponent had Droll. I had Souls and 4 bricks. It was unplayable. One of the bricks was this spell that I was mentioning that I viewed originally as a brick until this duel. I Souls for 1 because I didn't want to get hit with the Veiler, and he drolled me at the end. I'm like, what am I going to do? Then I read this card, and I somehow, some way, read this card, which of course I drew both and Draco back because I'm nice.
Yeah.
But somehow found a way to make Excel Synchron, or whoa, wait, I could summon Stardust Synchron, I could tribute this, I could summon both. Wait a second, if this makes Synchron, I could summon a level 1. I could I could boost the effect of Excel Synchron. Souls, yo, I have a Baron next thing I know. Next thing I know, I have a Jet Speeder and a Baron.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, that's why. That's why this deck is so fun. These type of decks are
which
fun.
I'm playing as well, which I'll get to a little later. You need to play cards like that. Cards that are not engine, that people do not expect. Oh, a lot of people only play Enchantress.
That's so hectic.
Why? You have like 9 or 10 good like Enchantress with 9 cards, right? So you're gonna rely on drawing a 9 of? I have 16 of. Who do you think is gonna win more? How many times is it gonna get ashed? All right, so you have 5 now. You need to be prepared for all these things, which is why all these non-tuners, cards like Small World, cards like Tengu, cards like Souls and Illusion are absolutely required. I would even love to play 4 Souls, like 2 Soul, 2 Illusion. But the deck is very tight, and you do want to play as many defensive cards as humanly possible. Yeah. There are some places as well where you can combo with hand traps, with Souls and Illusion as well. Same with Fenrir, and it just baits the interruptions. So even when you have multiple hand traps, you use them offensively, and that's the idea of the deck. You want to save Jet Speeder for the very end.
Yeah.
You know that you need a level 4 and a level 1, or an Assault Synchron and a level 3, whatever. Some way, somehow, you need to get to that. So bait your opponent's cards with your 5 cards. Same idea with Scareclaw. I would bait my opponent's all my interruptions, save the normal Scareclaw. Next thing you know, he access code Vicious Astroloud. See you later, my friend. Your board's gone and you're dead. So make sure to play the same way. My package here is right here. These 8 are all great to draw. Foolish is not just an Enchantress. Foolish is also any Synchron you want.
Yeah.
And if you do not have access to this, which is the MVP of the deck, you need to get to it. This somehow, some way, gets to your whole combo. It is by far the MVP of the deck after Jet Speeder. But it's because of that card. Griffin is also not even that bad to draw. Our Draco back is disgustingly ass, but Griffin is a level 7. Yeah. It's a non-tuner. Non-tuners are vital in this deck. With cards like Assault Synchron, Excel, Stardust, the idea of the deck is you must summon Synchros, and I'll get to the extra deck a little later, to stop your opponent's interruptions. I can't stress it enough. A lot of people just go, oh, let me go Baron and Jet Speeder, and that's it. So if this gets stopped, I'm passing my turn. That's such a bad way to play the deck. Because your opponent will have 2 interruptions. What happens when you're going second? Is Baron gonna magically summon itself without getting interrupted? No. So you save that Baron Jet Speeder play. And when I say Jet Speeder, I don't mean Jet Speeder by itself. You save Excel Stardust Jet Speeder. You save Baron Jet Speeder. You save that until later. Like, you know what I'm saying, guys? Do that later. Yeah, make sure you bait the opponent's cards first. Otherwise, you're gonna get
so the way you do that would be with Draco back or
the best
Fenrir. Or
that's it for the deck. It's 30 Draco back. That's 30.
Or baiting with Ash. You know what I mean?
Now you can play
stuff
28
baiting with
cards,
Enchantress Search, Tuning Search, stuff like that.
Cards,
which is why Overtake is another way to force an interaction.
Fenrir. This is a defensive card, but guess what? It's a level 7 extender. They must deal with this. If they do not deal with this, not only do I get a free Fenrir, not only will I get rid of one of the opponent's cards by entering battle phase, but now my Synchron plays are live.
Yeah.
Special Assault Synchron. I get Carcassor. Why are you not playing that card? I don't know. Because you don't listen to Steve Jovanovski, that's why. So, Normal Revolution Synchron. Get Baron.
Wait, what did he say? Because you have access to what?
You need these stuff. Otherwise, why are you not playing that card? I don't know. Because you don't listen to Steve Jovanovski, that's why. So, Normal Revolution Synchron. Get Baron. Special level 1. Right. Enchantress. You need these stuff. Otherwise, you can't play. Now, for the defensive card.
Yeah, Fenrir's epic. Fenrir's really good.
That's the only non-hand trap defensive card that is not in engine, but it's kind of engine. So you're playing 32 of these, but it's constant defensive as well. And then the 13 hand traps I play, 3, 6, 9, 12, and I play Droll. It's also a bridge to ensure for Reborn Tengu.
Yeah.
And it's a bridge for Small World, but it's also a great card. Like I would play
bridge for Tengu is insane as well.
Droll as well. I just don't want to play 47 cards, and I do think these are the best hand traps. By the way, Nibiru is by far number 1. I'll tell you why. You're not playing 5 hand traps, you're not playing 6 hand traps, you're not playing 9 hand traps. Mathematically, you're playing 13. Mathematically, you will open 2 hand traps. Or at the very least, you're playing 2 Fenrir, hand trap and a Fenrir, whatever.
Ratios,
so
ratios,
Nibiru,
bro.
you have any of these, your opponent is cooked. Doesn't matter, like, it's Nibiru by itself, I gotta understand, it'll be stopped by a lot of decks. But Nibiru plus any other hand trap is just an FTK. I don't know how to say that more clearly. If you're playing 12 plus hand traps, Nibiru must be one of those 12.
Yeah.
Even in a format where Nibiru is bad because of a negate or something. Because, like, against Sprite, I'm no doubt about it, it's staying in my deck. Because when they attempt to stop it, I Baylor.
Ash, in sequence with another hand trap, of course. Nibiru
I really
insane.
want to, I got 25 defensive cards out of 45
Like right now,
cards.
there's a lot of buildable decks,
a
a lot of combo decks.
you make sure that post side deck, your ratios are still the same. I know in game 1, I have 16 of the very powerful non-tuners, non-synchrons, and I have 15 of the very powerful synchrons if I really wanted to.
So what he means here is he's saying that even if you don't get to combo, which would be the card variation of a Synchron and Riot or Adventure or even Fenrir, is the fact that you can have Adventure and hand traps, Fenrir and hand traps, and that alone can buy you and help you survive that turn until you get access to another draw, which potentially can be another Synchron.
So I make sure the ratio is somewhat equal still, with a little less synchrons, because I also have tuner hand traps, which will not get the jet speeder. But again, I told you guys before, the deck is jet speed is remarkable, but you should be able to play without jet speeder. 45 cards in the deck. The only thing I would think about switching, if I was to keep this deck at 40-ish, like 45 max, 40 is probably 45 max, I would not change a single card. What I would change is to make this a 60-card deck, because it opens up so many more lines of plays. I would insert 3 Lubellion and 2 Magnuma, and I would research as many possible defensive cards, but also offensive at the same time. Because a Bestial, in any format, the Bestials are good. They're going to be absolutely remarkable in this deck. You're essentially playing Bestial Adventure Synchro, but with actual good cards.
Yeah. So the issue with this theory is something that we did discuss, is pairing the cards that don't work with Adventure. Because if you open up Adventure and Fenrir, although it is strong, it's still not combo. If you pair up Adventure and Bestials, it's still not combo. It's still pretty decent, but if Bestials don't fulfill their purpose, which would be getting access to regain, getting access to the beast setup alongside that, then you're gonna keep drawing into other non-engine cards like Fenrir, stuff like that, and it dilutes the deck to the point where you don't get to your synchrons. So it can work, but you present that situation. You know what I mean? It works. It can work, but it just increases the amount of variance, which is I'm a big fan of variance.
Right now are whatever. But maybe in a future format they could be insane. So if that format comes, maybe it's this. Who knows? I would literally flood my deck with Bestials.
Because you have to get the Bestials have to get value.
There's some other cards out there. I'll do more research and figure out. I do not play Synchro World, by the way, because the second Death Speeder resolves, the duel is over. Anything else after that is just a brick, which is the same reason I also do not run the lock. The end board of this deck is loop 3 from hand, draw 6 plus, depending on the hand, and whatever negates I have on board. Spatter, bearing, croc, whatever.
Yeah.
And hand-to-hand traps. I'm gonna show you guys the extract. There's 12 cards there's 13 cards that are mandatory. The other 2 you could kind of play around with, but I'll tell you what the best ones. These are the 3 best Synchro 5s. You're gonna notice I do not play Synchro Overload, as I mentioned earlier. Not why?
You mean Jet? Jet Warrior?
Most of the summons are extended.
Synchro Overload, bro.
Except for Tengu, and all the Synchros are extenders as well, except Jet. And you can get Jet to the grave at any time you want. They're all extenders. So I don't want to play for the sake of synchro summoning, and I need more names of synchrons, so you don't need it. It's good, but you don't want too many synchrons, and it takes up a slot in the extra deck. All 3 of these, you go into them a lot. Stardust Charge is vital. Because it's a Stardust, I go into this every single
time. Going back to the overtake thing. The reason, especially if you're playing Tengu, it makes it even better, because it gives you another line of play compared to having to normal summon one of your synchrons, right? Because that's something that you don't want to do. Because if you have Tengu, right, and you have Jet, and if you have Stardust, there's times where you don't really want to waste your normal summons on those, because one of them's going to be redundant. Otherwise, you're going to be forced. Because compared to, let's say you have Overtake, Tengu, Stardust, and Jet, right? Typically, his response was, you can discard Jet at any given moment because if you have Adventure access. But what if you don't have Adventure access? Then you're going to be forced to go for an SD line, Excel Sneaker Starters line, which means tribute the freaking Tengu, special the Stardust, and then search elimination, float into the other Tengu, and you're stuck with you're stuck with a Jet in hand. You know what I mean? Compared to threatening a play with Overtake and Tengu, right? You can go Jet Bounce, not even go Speeder yet. You know what I mean? You eliminate that, which is that's the one thing I don't agree with.
Is this? You literally need to play it. Being able to play around with your level is vital, not just for Tengu plays, but you can make whatever in God's Green Earth you want simply by sending a level. And getting the follow-up is a bonus. I don't let it stay on the field, but just the fact that you can play around at any level you want, you ensure, regardless of the weird ass situation you're left with, because you can't think like, oh, I will definitely, without question, I will never open these two. Never. They're always gonna stay in my deck. That's just not true. So the scenarios where you do, your end board ends up being kind of weirder. There's no like set combo. Or sometimes you hard draw the one of Assault Synchron, so you can't summon 4. You can summon 3. That's fine. Sometimes you go through 2. You randomly draw 2 Stardust Synchron.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever.
All variants. I'm a big fan of variants in this game.
The combo is not linear. It's different all the time. So because of that, Shooting Riser ensures that it's basically linear. If you know what you're doing, you still get to the end board.
Yeah.
Also, I would not advise this deck if you suck at Yu-Gi-Oh. Absolutely not. My first round, this is after cooking everyone on Dueling Book. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I knew, but I was stuck in some weird scenarios. I opened all my bricks. Mid combo, I didn't have enough tuners. I'm thinking, why am I not playing Wheel Synchron? In that scenario, I was cooked. And then I sat there and thought, does Yugimoto think he gets cooked? No. And I'm better duelist than him. So I decided after that I'm just gonna win all the rest of my matches, and I did.
Bro.
Obviously. Now we're 6 boxes richer. Next, we play these. You're gonna notice it's kind of a Stardust deck. This is literally vital. This playing these 4, and these are all key. It ensures now when you hard draw these 2. Now if you look through the deck, look, all these are except for Draco back. They're all great to draw. They're all amazing to draw. And as I said before, I really thought like just to be able to get this and tuning. You don't even need to resolve Jet. If you have access to these 5, you do not need Jet Speeder. I don't even know what the card, Junk Speeder, whatever. You don't need it.
Triv, bro, come on, Triv.
Sure. If you have access to this, you don't need it. This gets the full loop 2, whatever. This gets to your full combo without this. So it's vital to have this. Vital. So just remember that. And it's only possible because you have these. So next. Omega is important. This is also
I'm
very
confused
important.
as to why he said his speeder.
Yeah, you do want to draw 6. Sometimes
you can get 2 speeder.
Like, I opened very weird.
But without speeder, the deck just isn't
Librarian,
the deck.
I forgot what it was. I think Librarian, Dispatter, and like a random, like something random, like a tuner or something.
Yeah, Croc.
I had to discard at the end phase. My opponent had 2 cards left in his hand. I had to discard at the end phase. I had 1 negate. Yeah, but I had 5 hand traps. So the idea, you shouldn't think about, Calamities lock him. Dude, if they don't hand trap you, you're gonna end on a full board. They're screwed. If they do hand trap you, they're still screwed because you're gonna get rid of the other cards in their hand. They're hand looping themselves unless they have triple hand trap. 2 hand trap is not enough. You need 3 against this deck. So this is why the end board, just focus on getting the draws. Focus on Librarian. Focus on this. Focus on this. Focus on the draws. It's truly vital. And Crimson is also double draw.
Yeah.
And,
So the Croc is there because it's something. It's fundamentally within the deck to synchro climb, and that's what you want. You want convenient ways to get to your boss monsters, and this is one way to do so. Because you play a lot of 8s. You can go into Jet or Rev, effective from graveyard. You can climb into a 9, draw a card. Mill for Jet, mill for Rev, whichever one you didn't use yet. Climb into a 10. Like it just is synchro climbing while drawing cards, which is pretty cool. And there's utility within Croc because you can pop a card. It's spot removal, And by the time you pass, if you wanted to, you can leave Croc on the field, and then you have all these cards to pitch for its effect. It's insane.
So whatever. These are the Synchro 10s, Baron and Dispatter. I do not play Chaos Angel.
Is he playing Crimson?
I play Crimson Dragon. I do not play another Synchro 12.
Oh, that means you can play Trish.
Times, but it's just not relevant at all. These are the 3 that I played in the tournament. These are all vital. These 12 are absolutely mandatory. If you're not playing them already, just throw them in. I decided Shooting Riser over Black Rose. You could play Black Rose if you want, but I think Shooting Riser does open up a lot of cool plays for me. So I opted for Shooting Riser because it's a dragon, which is well, they're both dragons, but to be able to play around with the level is
they're both
important.
dragons.
And then typically, if you get that far, you could do a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
so
you can take it any way you want. It's
Black Rose and
nice.
Trish. Trish is cool. This is how you hand loop 3. You'll essentially go Crimson Dragon onto the Croc or Excel Synchron on level 9 to bring out Trish to hand loop 3. But it's cool and all, but I do not want to rely on Crimson Dragon to do that. Crimson Dragon typically does other things to make sure my play is like smooth. I don't want to force my Crimson Dragon to be forced to do that. To be forced to go into random Synchron in order to resolve that. Crimson Dragon is better when it's used kind of offensively and not to focus on getting that. So instead, what I would advise is to play a 1 Scrap Dragon guaranteed. You need a second Dragon Synchro 8. It could be Crystal Wing if you'd like. That's also another one. The deck has enough negates. You could play Crystal Wing. But Scrap Dragon for going second, it is relevant to have a generic card that says pop. Play one Scrap Dragon and one Gothams. That leaves now the 15th card. It could probably be a Black Rose. But you are never, at the end of the games, you always see one of these in your extra deck. So that just tells you, sometimes two of them. Sometimes both stay in the extra deck. Most times, actually. You simply just pick one. And the idea of using Black Rose is you go Tengu and Revolution Synchron. Alright. And then you use Black Rose effect. Alright. Pass. What the fuck's the point of that? You just passed yourself, then you die. There's no, like, unless your game plan is Black Rose and do nothing, that's not a game plan I'm happy with. I'll lose the next turn.
Yeah, so typically what you do with the Black Rose is have access to Overtake. Have access to Overtake and have access to Right, or, you know what I mean? Because you waste your normal summon. So that's the only. This is why I feel like you need to play Overtake if you're playing Black Rose and Tengu, because that means you can go summon Tengu, go into Rev, go into Black Rose, chain 1 Tengu, chain 2 Black Rose, nuke, right? Flow to the second Tengu, Overtake, and then just pop off.
So, in theory, Black Rose is great. What are you gonna do? Black Rose your Fateful Adventure? No. Like, in theory, it's great. It's not. And you don't have that many monsters to play with. It's not like Scareclaw where you can summon 20 times. When that monster's gone, you lose. So you can't let this destroy itself. There's a new Synchro that generically pops one, I believe.
Yeah.
That could be decent, but shooting Riser affecting level is pretty important. So that 15th card, you can play whatever you want. Don't play Calamities though. It's literally a waste of a slot. If you want, you can store in Calamities in a generic Synchro 12, but I don't think there'll be any scenario where you're like, you know what, I lost this duel because my opponent had 2 cards in hand. I had 6. I actually had 8. I had to discard 2. I had 5 hand traps and 3 negates. My opponent had 2 cards in hand. I actually had 5 more interruptions. My opponent has cards in hand. Let me just Calamity Lock him. I don't think there'll be a single duel in the world where you wish you had it. So for that purpose of not being a clown, don't play it. Now the side deck. There's 17 hand traps within the 13. I still wanted cards that aren't just hand traps. There's a lot of decks that don't care about hand traps. Hand traps are just there for cards like decks like the Mirror, decks that put up infinite interruptions.
Yeah.
Most likely, if there was no if this deck wasn't in the format, or just the generic decks that like Revolution Synchron decks that put up like 6 negates, I'd probably just go for board breakers instead. We also have to worry about cards like Anti-Spell, which this deck doesn't really care about. Well, it does, but not really. Not really. Droll, like, it hurts a bit, but not really.
It does care. What do you mean?
So
it's only if you open a Fenrir and you still part of the game state and Anti-Spell is like the only thing,
to ensure that every game, going second, you have 40 cards in deck. I ensure, no matter what, that there's 20 good cards going second at least. That's typically the number. I normally don't clear 20. 20 is a good number out of 45. You're gonna draw like 3 of them. Your opponent's cooked. So it's good to have them. I don't like mixing the hand traps and board breakers too much, but talents and thrusts are a little bit more than a board breaker. I don't use them as board breakers. I use them almost offensively going second. And it's also nice that thrust can set a D barrier. D barrier is a turn skip against a lot of decks, mine included. Both my decks actually, Pendulum and Lift.
Oh God, bro, this guy's hilarious.
I also play talents, Call By and Cross Out. If my opponent plays a deck that plays hand traps, or if I see the hand trap, or if I joke around, Joel and Lockbird, I'm not gonna let you do it. I'm not gonna let you use Droll. I'm gonna cross out your ass. Sometimes I even let them Droll me. Every single time I see Droll, it's
let me see that again, bro. Let me see that again.
But now and cross out. If my opponent plays a deck that plays hand trap, or if I see the hand trap, or if I joke around, Joel and Lockbird, I'm not gonna let you do it. I'm not gonna let you use Droll. I'm gonna cross out your ass. Sometimes I even let them Droll me.
Sometimes I let them Droll me, bro. Oh my God.
Ever. But now look at this. Let's say you're going first now. Who the fuck's doing anything?
Yeah.
Like, you're playing a deck that you need 2 hand traps to stop me, minimum. All right, cool. I open one of these 8. Now you need 4 hand traps to stop me. You lose. I'm gonna have Omega on my field that I will not even be able to activate because you no longer have a hand. So I'll have to save it in hoping that you just pass priority in main phase. So this is why these are so powerful. And the beauty of it is that these are not for going first, they're for going second. But they are nice to have. And this sounds crazy, but there's a few decks out there that are super ass in the meta. A lot. There's not a few. There's a lot. So I actually side D-Barrier and Crossout Decimator. Only in decks that play a lot of hand traps as well. Cause this is not the only reason I'm gonna do it. Going second. The main purpose of Crossout Decimator will be for hand traps, yes. But I know for a damn fact that if they don't have D-Barrier, they lose the game. So I have that set up. And a lot of people are playing D-Barrier right now because it stops the top 4 decks. And by stop, I mean they turn skip.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have. And I got
just cross the D-Barrier.
Also, I play one Kurikara. This is for because I play 6 of them. I play 6 of them. One of this, 2 thrust, and 3 small world.
Yeah.
Small world gets to this, thrust gets to small world. I get the Kurikara anytime I would like. And the only way to resolve Kurikara is if they use a monster effect. So it's kind of the same thing. So I'm actually playing 3. There's no reason to play multiples in scenarios we don't need to, especially when you're playing Infinity Hand Traps. But to have Infinity Hand Traps plus just the generically 1 Kurikara, which you get to by 6 cards, is actually quite powerful. You get to it whenever you want. And then the 1D shifter as well, just for crossout.
Yeah.
And that's the deck.
That's crazy.
The deck's actually amazing. Literally, if you want to keep it near 40, if you don't want to be crazy and play like 60 or some shit, keep it card for card how it is. It's worked like a blast. If anything, cut Revolution Synchron to 1. If the idea of cutting Revolution Synchron to 1 sounds ridiculous to you, that's how ridiculous it is to cut Souls or Illusion. Souls or Illusion is better than Revolution Synchron without question, not even a single doubt in my mind. That's it. That's about it, guys. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. First place. We're gonna win many more. If you got this far, check out the beautiful playmat. Check out the
bro, good job, Trip, bro.
Hey guys, see you guys next video. Peace.
Let's go.